Hello, welcome to the Movie Review channel. Please subscribe the channel and like the video. Let's go to the video. And Rice's Mayfair Witches. Is it supposed to be a horror drama thrills? It's been a few months since AMC released its TV version of Interview with the Vampire, and now it continues its investment in the Anne Rice business with a new show, focused on a new supernatural lineage. Instead of the vampire Lestat, this new series from creators Esther Spalding and Michelle Ashford is about the women of the wealthy and mysterious witches in the Mayfair family, the subject of 3 books by Rice. The plot, adapted from Anne Rice's novels, centers on a preternaturally gifted surgeon named Rowan, the White Lotus Alexandra Daddario, who discovers she's heir to a dynasty of women with special powers. As she explores her family tree, each gnarled root seems to branch off into knottier tangles, still ultimately yielding a saga laden with sex, death, and magic, spanning hundreds of years and thousands of miles. Mayfair Witches follows the blueprint laid out by Rice's Lives of the Mayfair Witches trilogy, taking most of its material from the first novel, The Witching Hour. Woven into the present-day narrative of Rowan's hunt for answers are flashbacks to a 17th-century Scottish village, chronicling an earlier generation of Mayfairs whose gift for midwifery attracts dangerous suspicion from religious authorities. And sprinkled throughout the dialogue are allusions to other Mayfairs still, whose biographies seem to bolster the warning imparted to Rowan during her quest: things don't end well for the women in this family. Such hints, combined with a pretty visual palette of dark jewel tones, are enough to string a viewer along for a while, in hopes of a juicy payoff somewhere down the line. The fun of Mayfair Witches can be so iffy that it struggles to make much intrigue out of its aforementioned secret society of witch protectors, named the Talamasca. Rowan receives some assistance and camaraderie from a Talamasca employee named Cyprian, offering her a stronger grasp of this new world. His heroism comes with his own gift. Cyprian can touch something and be able to see its past, like when he touches the gates to the Mayfair house. When he touches Rowan for the first time, it nearly knocks him out, a testimony to how she has a special degree of power, even though she doesn't know it. Unfortunately, unlike Interview with the Vampire, Mayfair Witches does not open with a strong statement about what its updated take on Rice's work wants to bring to the table. Interview immediately made an impression with its reinvention of Louis de Pont du Lac and his vampire sire Lestat, making the novel's subtext text and using the vampire metaphor to explore queer desire and race. Daddario is good in the role that the series spends a lot of time table setting for, especially with how much time the series dedicates to making her a person of the people, a type of innocence we are meant to root for and cherish. She can be playful as a vagabond who lives on a boat and lives a free sexual life, but we're also meant to appreciate her integrity, which could be jeopardized by Lasher. It's the general sullen nature of the series that sucks the life out of a few of its figures. Despite having such a unique life's work, Cyprian is too bland thanks to his grave seriousness. Mayfair Witches gets its most curious mileage from Beth Grant as Rowan's sly great-aunt Carlotta. Her shark smile and fervent religious repression create their own striking mystery, one that gets freakier once she invites Rowan into her home. To be honest, if Mayfair Witches has as strong a thesis statement driving it, it's hard to find. Creators Michelle Ashford and Esther Spalding seem interested in exploring gender and power dynamics in this story, as Rowan's awakening to her Mayfair heritage comes from moments where men in power undermine her, and Lasher's frustratingly vague motivations seem to hinge on keeping women from realizing how powerful they are. But theme and genre never fully come together, and the performances from the show's tight cast often read as lost as the viewer likely is. Mayfair Witches, at least in its early episodes, lacks specificity, both in the ways its supernatural powers and monsters work, and in how that might bolster its story about a woman of great power continually stymied by men. The plotting of Mayfair Witches is just a big no. Episodes 1 and 2 showed us how a story can provide a lot of information and connected lives without accumulating a good pace. Yep, you successfully failed. But the series does come to life when it brings in something trickier than Rowan's journey of self-realization. For example, Episode 3, directed by Axel Carolyn, takes off from a shocking death in the last shots of Episode 2. It helps build a murder mystery while raising more supernatural elements, leaning into the weirdness that helps this series stand out most. But Episode 5, directed by Haifa Al-Mansour, is the best in this series. It plays out almost like a standalone episode, giving more momentum to the mysteries at hand by crafting a psychological maze for Rowan to break through. It seems possible that fans of the books will at least appreciate how much space this show gives its saga. It's all about the characters' backstories, but in a way that's uniquely, frustratingly counterintuitive here. So much gets tangled up or forgotten about, even the worry about Rowan having uncontrolled brain-bursting powers, the focus of the first 2 episodes, becomes an afterthought. But the talent in front of and behind the camera makes the problems even more glaring. It's telling how even talented directors like Carolyn and Al-Mansour can't bring Mayfair witches to life. It just frustrates me, and only partly because of the way Mayfair Witches fumbles the goodwill established by Interview with the Vampire. There's a texture here that is worth sinking into, a story of a secret family in a bedeviled home in the United States' most haunted city, where everyone is wrestling with the part they have to play in a story much older than them. There are moments of horror that are arresting in their swift brutality, and ghosts worth dancing with. It's possible that Mayfair Witches can deliver on the promise that seems to haunt it in the back half of its 8-episode season, but realistically it might not get there until season 2, and that's if it makes it that far. Thank you for staying with us until the end of the video. Please write your opinion in the comments section and like the video and subscribe to the channel.